All right, White's Army, gather round because what I'm about to tell you will have you jumping out of your seats, screaming at your screens, and questioning everything you thought you knew about this Leeds United squad right now. We're sitting pretty in 11th place, 8 points from 6 games, and everyone's talking about how we've smashed expectations. But hold on a minute, because behind those smiles and that unbeaten home record at Elland Road, there's a storm brewing that could shake this entire season to its core. I'm talking about a midfield maestro who's being frozen out despite his world-class quality, a tactical decision that literally cost us points on Saturday, and a January transfer target who's just been given the green light to leave his club. 3 stories, 1 massive impact on our survival hopes. Picture this, a Japanese international sitting on the bench wondering why he can't get a game, a manager making substitutions that have journalists scratching their heads, and a Polish veteran at Inter Milan who's packed his bags and could be heading to West Yorkshire in January. Before we dive into this absolute madness, do me a favor, smash that like button. Drop a comment telling me if you're Team Fark or Team Chaos, and if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that bell icon because you do not want to miss what's coming next. Now, the first bombshell involves a midfielder who everyone thought would be perfect for the Premier League, but who's watching from the sidelines while his teammates shine. And when you hear what Graham Smythe has to say about this, you'll understand why alarm bells are ringing all over Elland Road. Right, here we go, Aotanaka. Remember that name? The silky Japanese international who looked like an absolute bargain when we brought him in. Technical ability for days, vision that would make Xavi jealous, and a passing range that had us all dreaming of Premier League domination. But here's the problem. White's faithful, and it's a big one. He's not playing. He's barely getting minutes. And Graham Smythe from the Yorkshire Evening Post has just dropped a truth bomb. That's got everyone talking. Smythe's concern? Physicality. That's right, the one thing you absolutely cannot hide from in the Premier League. He's watching Tanaka and remembering how he got run over a few times towards the end of last season, and he's genuinely worried about how our Japanese star will cope against the most elite athletes in the Premier League. Now, let me paint you a picture of what's actually happening at Leeds right now. Our midfield is flying. Ethan Ampadu is doing Ethan Ampadu things, bossing the middle of the park like he owns it. Anton Stach. Fatmop says he's our best player so far this season. And Sean Longstaff. The lads won TWO Man of the Match awards in Just for Starts. The midfield is literally the heartbeat of our fantastic start. But here's where it gets messy. Tanaka is a player of extreme quality, everyone agrees on that. What he lacks in physical presence, he makes up for with his brain and his boots. But Daniel Farke has built this team on strength, on physicality, on out-muscling opponents in the trenches. And Tanaka, he doesn't fit that mold. Remember what happened last season. Tanaka himself hinted he'd leave if we didn't get promoted. His agent came out and said the Japan international is perfect for the Premier League. Everyone was buzzing about him. But now that we're actually here, in the promised land, fighting for survival, Farke isn't starting him. Let me tell you what this means. White's Army, if Tanaka becomes disillusioned, and let's be honest, sitting on the bench will make him disillusioned, clubs are going to come sniffing. As early as January, we're talking about a player who has quality dripping from his boots, who could walk into numerous Premier League midfields, who's watching his international teammates at other clubs getting game time, while he's collecting splinters at Elland Road. How long before his agent starts making calls? The irony is painful. We've got a midfielder who everyone said was too good for the championship, who dominated last season, who was supposed to be our secret weapon in the top flight, and he can't get on the pitch because we're prioritizing muscles over magic. This isn't just about squad rotation anymore. This is about a £7 to £8 million investment sitting in the stands, a player whose value is dropping with every passing week, and a potential exodus in January that could leave us weaker than we are now. But wait, because if you think that's concerning, you haven't heard about the tactical disaster that unfolded on Saturday against Bournemouth. Saturday at Elland Road, Leeds United 2 to Bournemouth. Deep into stoppage time, the Whites are holding on for a vital 3 points at home. And then, boom, Bournemouth equalize in the 94th minute from a set piece. But here's what you might not know. This didn't have to happen. Graham Smythe and the Yorkshire Evening Post crew didn't hold back. They've called out Daniel Farke for a double Leeds error. That directly resulted in Bournemouth's equalizer, and when you hear the details, you're going to be furious. Let's break down Fark's substitutions on Saturday. 67th minute, Jack Harrison on for Noah Okafor. Fair enough. 87th minute, Altanaka comes on for Brendan Aronson in a wide midfield role. Additional time, Dominic Calvert-Lewin comes off for Lucas Mecha right before they concede. Now, let me ask you something. White's Army, when you're protecting a lead in the dying minutes against a team like Bournemouth, who are dangerous from set pieces, who do you want on that pitch? Do you want Jack Abidjal, a center-back who spent years in Serie A, fighting relegation battles with Udinese, heading everything away in the penalty box? No, he's sitting on the bench. Do you want Dan James, the Welsh sprinter who can press like a madman and give you an outlet on the counterattack? No, unused substitute. Do you want Dominic Calvert-Lewin, a striker who's 6'0", dominant in the air, and can defend set pieces? And OPE, Fark took him off right before the goal. Graham Smythe absolutely nailed it when he said, "Do you want Jack Abidjal?" in the penalty box in the 93rd, 94th minute, heading everything away. Do you want Daniel James on the pitch so that you have an outlet? The answer is yes. Yes, we do. This isn't hindsight talking. This is basic football management. When you're defending a lead in stoppage time, you bring on your defensive reinforcements. You don't take off your best aerial presence and leave your most experienced Serie A defender on the bench. We dropped 2 points at home. That's the difference between 11th place and pushing for top half. That's the difference between survival comfort and relegation nerves come May. And let's talk about Jack Abidjal for a second. This is a player who came from Udinese, who was a mainstay in Serie A, who literally said, "Everyone has a desire to play at the highest level. I've fulfilled my desire and I hope the story will be successful." But he hasn't played a single Premier League minute, not one. We've got a starter-level defender sitting on the bench, getting 0 minutes, probably wondering what the hell he needs to do to get on the pitch. This is our third dropped points situation. First Fulham at Craven Cottage, now Bournemouth at home. But hold on, because the third bombshell involves a potential January signing who could change everything about our survival hopes. Right, White's Army, this is where things get really interesting. Because while we're dealing with midfielders we can't use properly and tactical disasters, Daniel Fark and the Leeds board are already looking ahead to January, and they've identified a target that could be absolutely perfect. His name, Piotr Zielinski, 101 caps for Poland, Champions League experience, 8 years dominating Serie A with Napoli, and right now at Inter Milan, he's sitting on the bench, unused, unwanted, and ready for a move. Last season, Zielinski left Napoli after being an absolute legend. They're minus 364 games, 51 goals, 46 assists. Inter Milan snapped him up thinking they got a bargain, but it's been a disaster. Last season, just 2 goals and 3 assists in 39 games. This season, for substitute appearances. And here's the clincher. On Saturday, during Inter's 2-0 win over Cagliari, Zielinski didn't even get off the bench. New manager Christian Chivu left him sitting there for the second consecutive match. He's done it Inter. Polish journalist Matusz Rokaszewski basically confirmed it. The change of coach certainly didn't do Zielinski any good. If this is how his adventure with the new coach begins, I don't see a rosy future for him. Translation: he's leaving in January. Leeds were already linked with Zielinski last week. Daniel Fark is desperate for more attacking options after the club failed to sign Facundo Buonanno and Harry Wilson in the summer. Fark literally warned the board that without more signings, we'd struggle to avoid relegation. Zielinski is 30 years old, experienced but not over the hill. He's got one more big move left in him, and Leeds United could be exactly what he needs. At Napoli, he averaged a goal or assist every 142 minutes. For Poland, every 144 minutes. He can play on either wing, as a number 10, even as a second striker. The versatility alone makes him perfect. Imagine January, we're sitting around 12th, 15th place, and suddenly Piotr Zielinski walks through the door at Thorpe Arch. A player with Champions League pedigree. A player who can unlock defenses with a single pass. He'd immediately improve this squad and bolster our survival chances. But here's the question, would he want to come? Leeds isn't exactly glamorous right now. We're fighting relegation. What we can offer is a fresh start, regular game time, and the chance to be a hero. And let's be real, without Tanaka not getting minutes, maybe Zielinski is the answer. Maybe he's the technical midfielder who can also handle the physicality. So there you have it, White's Army. 3 bombshells that paint a complicated picture. We've got Tanaka being frozen out, potentially leaving in January. We've got Daniel Fark making tactical decisions that are costing us points. And we've got Piotr Zielinski, a January target who could transform our season. 8 points from 6 games sounds good now, but we all know how quickly things can turn. The Fark era at Leeds is at a crossroads. Smash that like button if you think Leeds must sign Zielinski in January. Drop a comment. Should Tanaka be starting? Was Fark wrong with those substitutions? And do you trust this squad to keep us up? Hit subscribe now because January is going to be mental. Can Daniel Fark and Leeds United learn from these mistakes before it's too late? Marching on together.